Morning, boys and girls. I'm sure you know, but I've got some good news for you. We will all be back at school from Monday, the 8th of March, which means just over a week away. It will be so lovely to have you all back. I know you've worked incredibly well with your remote learning, and your results have been fantastic. Well done to all of you. But to have you back at school will be simply a joy. We're all looking forward to having you back in the classrooms and enjoying being together. So that's just over a week away. We'll talk a little bit more about that next week, but let's start our assembly with a piece of music. Barnaby is going to sing for us.
Sing, sing a song, sing out loud, sing out strong. Sing of good things, not bad. Sing of happy, not sad. Sing, sing a song. Make it simple to last your whole life long. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Sing, sing a song. La 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 la. Sing, sing a song, sing out loud, sing out strong. Sing of good things, not bad. Sing of happy, not sad. Sing, sing a song. Make it simple to last your whole life long. Don't worry that it's not good enough for anyone else to hear. Sing, sing a song. La 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 la. La 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 la. La 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 la.
Thank you, Barnaby, for getting our assembly off to such a great start. We have another piece of music a little bit later in assembly. Now, I'm going to talk mainly now to the children in years 3 to 6 about a competition that you can enter. The Worcester Literary Festival takes place in the summer term. It's always something which is a really fantastic festival and one to look forward to. But you can be part of this too, because the festival has a young writer competition. It's for children in years 3 to 6. It's a story of no more than 300 words. You don't have to do 300 words. You can do less if you wish to. And you have a title of Gods and Monsters. Let's have a think about that. Gods and Monsters. Wow. We could write a fantastic story based on that title, couldn't we? Gods and Monsters. Have a little think about the possibilities while I'm talking to you. I'm going to show you some of the rules here. Have a little look at the rules. In order to take part, you simply have to write your story and send it into school to Mr. Stigand. Mr. Stigand will collect all of the entries and send them off to the organisers. And then, of course, they're judged. In recent years, we as a school have done really well. This competition has been running since 2013, and it's only 1 year, in fact, in all that time, that it's been won by a pupil not at Hawford. So we're hoping to do just as well again. You need to have a little think. You've got plenty of time. You've got your break over Easter to have a think about this, because it doesn't need to come back in until early on next term. We'll give you a completion date to get it through to Mr. Stigand, but have a little think. Gods and Monsters. I can already think of some fantastic stories that I might write if I was writing, but of course I'm too old to enter this competition. But I'm sure you will enjoy putting your thinking hats on and having a little go at that. So, the Worcester Young Writer Competition. Let's give it a go. Now I have a special visitor. Dr. Kate works up at Big Kings, but she would like to talk to you today. And she'd like to talk to you and read you a story. So I'm going to hand over to Dr. Kate now. Hope you really enjoyed having her as part of our assembly. We are so pleased to have her with us.
Good morning, everyone. How are you? I hope you're well. Thank you for having me to this assembly today. I'm really excited to be here. I know it's a bit strange doing them through the computers, isn't it? I would much rather be with you. But maybe one time you can have me back again and I'll be in the school hall with you one day delivering this assembly. So my name is Dr. Kate and I'm a psychologist, which sounds like a really complicated word, doesn't it, for some of you? But what my job is to think all about emotions, about how we're feeling, okay? So emotions are things like happy, sad, angry, worried, frightened, anxious, all those different kind of worries and feelings, and we all have those feelings all of the time. But sometimes people find them a little bit tricky and a little bit pesky and they start playing tricks on us. And sometimes what those emotions can do is they can stop us doing all the brilliant stuff that we love doing. So when that happens, which happens a lot of the time, boys and girls come and see me and we have a nice little chat and we do some activities together and we do lots of talking and we figure out what it is that's getting in the way. And we try different strategies to try and help you with those emotions. So that's my job, but I'm not here to do that today. I'm here to talk to you about an emotion. And I think it's an emotion that we all have sometimes, and sometimes we don't have it, and that's fine. So, what I'm going to talk to you about today is something called courage, or the idea of being brave. Now, we might have been asked quite a lot over the last 12 months to be brave because things have been quite different, haven't they? One minute we're all sat with our friends in the classroom and we're having great fun learning with our teachers. And the next minute we've been told to go home and learn via screens and not be with our friends. Or if we are in school, we're in a much smaller class where there's not so many of our friends with us. So times have been a little bit uncertain and we don't know what's going to happen the next minute. And many people might have said to us, we've all got to be really brave. And that's not just to young people like yourselves, that's for adults as well, because we all get a bit scared sometimes. So when it comes to being brave, it's important to know that courage doesn't always feel like courage. So from the outside, courage might look very impressive and very powerful. You might have a friend that's that daredevil, a little bit crazy and is always doing things that you think are really scary and you're thinking, wow, they're so brave. I wish I could be more like that. But actually, on the outside, it looks like they're not brave, but on the inside, it can actually feel really, really frightening. So it can feel like anxiety or worry or fear or something called self-doubt, which is when we don't believe that we can really do something. And that can really get in the way of us trying new things. So courage can be a little bit sneaky like that, and it often looks different from the outside to the way that you would imagine it might feel on the inside. Now, this is because courage and fear actually coexist. They live alongside each other. But if you think about it, it can't really be any other way. Because if there is no fear, if there's nothing to be scared of, there's no need to be brave, is there? So courage isn't something magical that happens inside us to make us not feel scared. It's about something magical that happens inside that helps us to push through all those scary feelings. So things like being scared or self-doubt or worry. And if we can push through those feelings, it can help us to achieve all those really brave things that we actually really want to achieve. So have any of you ever been on top of a really big slide? Okay, so be it there's one in the park. I know there's one in the countryside centre that is super, super steep. Have you ever sat on top of that slide? Or have you ever been to a water park where you've had to sit right at the top? Now, sometimes courage only has to happen for just a couple of seconds. Just enough time to scoot your bottom just to the edge of that slide. And then all of a sudden you just tip, 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 And whoosh, that's it, you've gone. And then before you know it, you've had a whale of a time and you're sat at the bottom of that slide going again, again, again. All it's taken is that tiny, tiny second of being brave just to push yourself slightly over the edge. And then it turns out that it's great fun and you've had a wonderful time. And another thing about being brave is you don't always see the effects of being brave straight away. Okay, so like the example I just showed you with the slide, you get that straight away, don't you? Because you know you've just done it, you've got to the bottom of the slide and you're really proud of yourself that you were so brave, and other people might say, well done. But being brave doesn't always mean that you have to be brave in the moment. It could be over time. So being brave might mean being kind to a new person in class when they look a little bit worried. It might be trying something new that you've never tried before. It might be speaking up for something that you really truly believe in, or maybe even having to tell a teacher about someone who's doing something that you don't believe to be right. All of those things require us to have courage to be able to go and do the right thing. So often these kind of things don't get that huge round of applause, or they don't have somebody coming up to you saying, wow, you've done so well, you were so brave. But what these smaller things are doing is they will be gently building and strengthening your confidence over time so that you can take on bigger challenges as you get older. So by doing lots of small, brave things like speaking up in class and asking questions, that can be quite scary sometimes, can't it? But the more we do it, the less courage we need because we get used to it. And the more that we do that, it will build up for much bigger things as we get older. So trying new skills will also help you build up to bigger things for when you grow up. Now I'm going to read you a little book. This is one of my favourite books I'm going to read you today, and it's all about being brave. And this is called The Lion Inside, and it's by Rachel Bright. Okay, so listen along. In a dry, dusty place where the sand sparkled gold, stood a mighty flat rock, all craggy and old. And under that rock, in a tiny full house, lived the littlest, quietest, meekest brown mouse. He was so very tiny, so incredibly small, that nobody noticed him ever at all. He got trod on and sat on and missed out for stuff, ignored and forgotten. Yes, mouse life was tough. Meanwhile, far above, on top of the rock, times were quite different. It was lion o'clock. This huge toothsome creature made sure everyone saw how important he was by how loud he could. Anybody know what's coming? Roar! Look how big his mouth is. He's so loud, isn't he? He was head of the pack. He was shouty and tough. He loved showing the crowd he was made of strong stuff. Yes, all were impressed by this mighty king cat. If only, thought Mouse, I could be more like that. Page is stuck. Then, late one dark night, in his Minnie Mouse bed, the cleverest thought popped into his head. He jumped from the covers and held up a paw. I've got it, he said. What I need is a roar. I mean, what if this mouse with the weeniest squeak was a little more grrr and a little less meek? Well, he'd still be the smallest of fuzzy brown mice, but he'd make lots of friends, join in, and life would be nice. Yes, thought the mouse, I must find out how. I will learn how to roar, and I will learn it now. But, oh my gosh, there was only one beast who could teach him this thing, but might make him a feast. It was time to be strong, take a chance. After all, forever was such a long time to feel small. So he made himself brave and he thought like a winner. He set off for the top, hoping not to be dinner. It felt like the scariest thing to do, but if you want things to change, you first have to change you. The further he climbed, the closer he got to the slumbering lion reclining on top. Then at last, as he stood on his tippity toes, he found himself suddenly nose to nose. Ahem, gulp, pardon me. Wake up, Mr. Lion, you've got company. Squeak, Mr. Lion, what I've come to you for is squeak. Do you think you could teach me your roar? A silence befell that twinkling plain. Lion opened his eyes and he puffed out his mane. Time slowed right down. Why, it felt like a week. Then he opened his mouth and he let out an eek. The lion was shaking, his paws all a fumble. He was backing away with a scrambling tumble. Don't hurt me, he whimpered. Oh, try to be nice. Well, my goodness, this lion was frightened of mice. Don't worry, Mouse peeped, I'm a friend, not a foe. Let's rock this together, we'll have fun, don't you know? That was a magical moment for sure, when Mouse didn't feel at all small anymore. He had found his true voice and learned to speak out, and for that you don't need to roar or shout. And from that day and always the two were a pair. They both liked that rock better, now that rock was to share. The mouse, while still little, felt big in his head, and Lion, he still roared, but with laughter instead. Yes, that day they both learned that no matter your size, we all have a mouse and a lion inside. I love this book because it just goes to show, doesn't it, that no matter how big you are or how small you are, inside each and every one of us is a little bit of fear, but a little bit of courage as well. So the mouse was so tiny, nobody ever noticed him, but he overcomes his fears, and even though it's scary, he pushes that fear and pushes through and goes on to get help from the lion, even though it was a bit risky because he might have been dinner. So can you think of a time where you've ever overcome your fears? How did you feel? Maybe think about what advice you might give to a friend if they wanted to try something new. So the mouse realises in this story that if you want things to change, you first have to change you. What do you think that means? So this mouse realised that he couldn't sit and wait to get bigger, or hope and wait that he could develop a big scary roar, because he wasn't a lion. He was a little brown mouse, and that would never change. But what he could change was the way he thought about himself and the way he believed in himself. Do you remember he said he thought like a winner and believed that things could be different? So it's not about changing who you are or wishing that you could be somebody else or like somebody else, maybe bigger or stronger or louder. It's about believing that you can try. Now I've got one last thing that I'm going to teach you, and you may have done this before, but this is called the superhero pose. Now, has anybody ever heard of the superhero pose? So I want everybody up on their feet. Everybody, mums and dads, if you're at home watching as well, maybe they can do it too. Teachers, everybody up. Okay, I'll get up as well. Let me get up. So, superhero pose has come from science experiments. Okay, so when you smile, it's because your brain is telling you that you're happy. Consequently, if you frown, it's because your brain has sent the signal that you're unhappy about something. But actually, there have been some science experiments that suggest the opposite can also work. So if we hold our body in a certain posture, it can trick our brain into thinking that we're actually really confident. So what I want you to do is try holding your body in a confident posture like a superhero does, okay? So I want you to stand with your feet slightly apart. I want you to show me your fists. Don't use them. Put them on your hips like this. I want you to puff out your chest like this. Take a deep breath. And I want you to hold your chin high in the air like you've got a bad smell under your nose. Can you see? Does everybody look like a superhero? Okay, and I want you to hold that pose and I want you to say, I can and I will. Are you ready? After 3. 1, 2, 3. I can and I will. Okay, now I probably don't think that was loud enough. I couldn't hear the walls shaking or feel them shaking. So I want you to try that one more time, but I want you to use your roar. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3. I can and I will. Who felt powerful then and a little bit more confident? So what this does is it tells your brain that when you're feeling brave, it tells your brain that you're feeling brave and that your brain thinks that you can do it, okay? And then sometimes that gives you just that enough courage to be able to go on and try something new. So what I'd like you to do is to try that on days when perhaps you don't feel brave. Maybe you're a bit worried about something. Maybe you've got to do an assembly, or maybe you've got to be in a school play or try something new or do a sports day. Maybe those pesky thoughts are telling you that you can't do something, or maybe they're trying to convince you not to try something new. Maybe they're saying, oh, you won't be any good at that. There's no point in trying. So doing this pose will send signals to your brain that suggest confidence, which over time can change how you think about yourself. So give it a go over half term. Now, I've got my newsletter as well that maybe the mums and dads might have had, and there's a challenge of the week in there about trying something new. So give it a go, and if you're a bit worried, get the superhero out and just have a go and see how you feel. Have an absolutely wonderful half term. I've heard so many wonderful things about you, and I know you've all worked really, really, really hard, so you deserve a lovely break. Have a great time, and I will speak to you soon and hopefully see you in person very soon in school. Lots of love, everyone. Take care. Bye.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Kate, for that, for reading that story to us, and also for those thoughts. So lots of things to think about there, and we are so pleased to have Dr. Kate as part of our assembly. Let's put our hands together for our prayer. Lord God, we thank you for this day. We look forward to the day when all of our children will be back together, when we can enjoy each other's company, time with our friends, time with our teachers. We thank you each and every day for the support of our parents, our teachers, and for our friends. Amen. So I told you earlier on we'd have a second piece of music, and James is going to perform for us now. Well done, James. Thank you very much. So, 2 fantastic performances there. Don't forget, if you'd like to be included in assembly, just simply send the video of your performance through to me, and I'd love to have you involved in one of our assemblies. So that's the end of it for today. I hope you have a lovely day. Hope you're looking forward to World Book Day next week, which will be a fantastic day. That's on Wednesday. Hear a bit more about that on Monday in our assembly, but a day to look forward to. And we've got a book fair coming to school when we all return, which will be fantastic too. So lots of things to look forward to, especially our school return. We've got 1 more week after this of working really hard. Then we can come back, of course, carry on working hard, but also enjoy being with each other. We've got an ABBA Day to look forward to on the 17th as well. So thinking of how much we enjoy performances together, I've got a performance for you now from our 60s Day to finish as we go out. Hope you have a lovely day. Enjoy all that each day brings. Have a lovely weekend. I look forward to being part of your day again on Monday. Bye for now.